Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella took the stand against Google, revealing startling insights into the tech giant's competition and concerns about Google's dominance. In a dramatic courtroom testimony in Washington, D.C., the Microsoft CEO didn't hold back in his critique of Google's dominant position in the search engine market. Nadella expressed concerns that Google's hold on the industry makes it nearly impossible for competitors to emerge. You can call it popular, but to me it's dominant, Nadella told a Google lawyer during a tense cross-examination. Microsoft's Bing has been striving to gain market share against Google since 2009. But Nadella revealed that it faced insurmountable obstacles largely due to Google's arrangements with Apple. Nadella emphasized the critical role of distribution in the success of a search engine. He revealed that Microsoft was willing to go to great lengths, even willing to pay a high price to make Bing the default search engine on Apple's iPhone. Defaults are the only thing that matters, Nadella said in court. He dismissed Google's claims that users could easily switch to another search engine as bogus. Despite Microsoft's eagerness to secure the default status on Safari, Apple chose to stick with Google, a decision that reportedly brings in billions of dollars annually through a lucrative revenue sharing agreement. With Apple's rejection of Microsoft's advances, Bing has remained a relatively small player in the search engine market. Nadella said Microsoft continues to invest in Bing, hoping for a possible paradigm shift or government intervention to restructure the business. It would be a game changer for Bing to be a default on Safari, he said. In a surprising twist, Nadella also expressed concern that Google could potentially use its dominance in search to strong-arm content providers, particularly those essential for training generative AI models. I worry a lot, in spite of my enthusiasm, that this vicious cycle can become even more vicious, Nadella warned, emphasizing the need for vigilance in the tech industry. Earlier this year, Microsoft made a bold move by integrating AI technology, including ChatGPT, into its Bing search engine, while this sparked expectations of a challenge to Google's dominance. Nadella argues that the emergence of AI may not be enough to reshape the landscape. The Microsoft CEO's testimony in the high-stakes courtroom battle against Google has shed light on the fierce competition between tech giants and the challenges faced by potential rivals. As the trial unfolds, the tech industry and regulators are closely watching, anticipating its potential implications for the future of online search and competition in the digital realm. All right, let's go back to Sri at this point. Sri, we've seen some very high profile and historic antitrust trials in the United States over the years. And despite the United States placing a premium on competition and, killing monopolies at any cost. Fact of the matter is that you have so many of them, and perhaps the best example of that really is Google, and you can hardly blame Nadella for expressing his frustration the way he did in the courtroom with all those arguments that he made. At the end of the day, is it all about the moolah? Because that's what he seemed to suggest.
So Neha, it's ironic that the CEO of Microsoft should be testifying in, Congress against a monopoly company. Because if you remember, the historic tech case fought in the US was against Microsoft in the 1990s, where Microsoft was accused of using its monopoly to dominate the desktop environment and keeping other players from coming in. So if you look at it even today, there are only two operating systems that the world has when it comes to laptops and desktops. One is, of course, the Apple environment, the iOS environment, but the rest of it is still Microsoft. It's the Microsoft Windows. So, despite the antitrust case and everything, Microsoft still rules the desktop environment, right? So that is one part, Neha. And so Microsoft basically escaped that antitrust, lawsuit and the threat of breaking up by promising the government, with settling with the US government, saying that, okay, we are going to open up our, our system, our operating system to other software to allow them to work within the Microsoft environment. So now guess one of the companies, the biggest gainer of that concession, guess who that company was? It was Google. Because at that point, the fight was about Internet Explorer as much. Microsoft was trying to say that this is not a product, this is a feature of our operating system. It is not a product in itself. So, when Microsoft were forced to open up and allow and give its API application program interface to, other companies, other developers, Google was the one that came in with a new search technology, with an entirely new way of searching the internet, ranking the pages, and then it built a completely new business model around the search industry. And then, as you know, the rest is history. So Google is much bigger, more powerful than Microsoft today in the web space. As Nadella said, it's like Google Web. It's not the internet. So, but the fact is, the government's antitrust case against Google also comes at a time when the search industry itself is undergoing a massive shift. So, if you look at the the large language models like ChatGPT, the generative AI mode in which search has now got into, and Microsoft is one of the largest investors in OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT, Neha. So this means that now the fight is going to be between Microsoft and Google in the search space. And very, very interestingly, Google is the one which is on the back foot as far as AI is concerned. Obviously, Google has its Bard AI system, but as of now, from all accounts, ChatGPT's generative AI seems far better in terms of capabilities, in terms of search. Of course, ChatGPT is not live like a Bard. It is unable to pull in current information because its training model stopped in 2021. So it has data only till that time. But this is now going to be a very interesting game. And there are a lot of Google shareholders, investors, who are worried that Google may lose its footing in the search industry because the nature of search itself has changed, Neha. For example, if you were to, in the traditional way, search for, let's say, a cocktail recipe, you will go onto Google and say, okay, I'm looking for a cocktail recipe to make, let's say, Long Island iced tea. And you might get 10 different recipes. You might have to go through it, and then compile everything and decide which is the best and make it. But using a chat GPT, a search or the assistant, what you can effectively do is tell the chat GPT that these are the ingredients I want, this is how much alcohol I have, or what kind of alcohol I have. And then it'll tell you an exact recipe, step by step, on how to make it. So look at how search itself has changed. So the way I'm interacting with the web, the internet, to do things itself has changed. So now that is why I say that this is an unfortunate timing for the government, because it comes a little too late in the day to question Google's monopoly. Because I think going ahead, the search industry and the entire internet industry, is going to be significantly disrupted by AI. There are Neuralink, all those things are going to come in. So the entire future is going to be very different, Neha, than what we see it as today. So I think the case a little late in the day, but there is no doubt that Google is by far the most successful. But also because I use multiple search engines. I use DuckDuckGo. I use Firefox. So, but the fact is, I always end up coming back to Google,
Google.
because it surface results much better than any other search engines, Neha. That is an unfortunate reality.
It is. And now we also know, Shri, that you've been looking for cocktail recipes online off late. Maybe I will have a chat with you about this offline later.
Disclosure, though, I'm a teetotaler currently.
You are? Oh my God. Okay. I'm a little disappointed just when I got a little excited about learning a few new cocktail recipes from you. And I also love your message for Satya Nadella, which in essence is this: stop being a crybaby, suck it up. You've done it too. The chickens have now come home to roost. Not in as many words, though.